There is a scandal that's shaking up Hollywood like a 7.0 earthquake. We're talking about the shocking arrest of Sean Diddy Combs and the absolutely wild fallout that's dragging some of the biggest names in showbiz down with him. But hold on to your wigs, because there's one name in particular that's left everyone absolutely shook: Steve Harvey.
This is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
That's right, you heard me correctly. Steve Harvey, the same guy we all know and love from family-friendly shows like Family Feud, the man who's been dishing out relationship advice and making us laugh for years. But honey, it looks like behind that million-dollar smile and dapper suits, there might be a much darker side lurking. Now let's rewind a bit and break this whole mess down. It all started when Diddy was arrested in Manhattan. We're not talking about some minor offense here, folks. The feds swooped in and nabbed him on charges that sound like they're ripped straight from a crime thriller: racketeering, conspiracy, exploitation, and more. I mean, seriously?
Stacey Schneider. And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
This wasn't just a little hiccup in Diddy's career. This was a full-on earthquake that's cracking the foundation of his entire empire. We're talking music, fashion, TV, nightlife. Diddy's had his fingers in all these pies for decades, but now it's all crumbling faster than my attempts at a TikTok dance challenge. As more details started to surface, people started whispering. How many others could be tangled up in this web? And then, bam! The internet exploded with a rumor that hit like a ton of bricks. Steve Harvey, our beloved TV host and comedian, had supposedly fled the country the very same day Diddy was taken into custody. Coincidence? Girl, please.
Clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear that someone high-profile skips town right as their buddy gets arrested, my eyebrows shoot up so high they practically leave my forehead. It's got people wondering, what does Steve know? Is he running from something? The speculation is wilder than my hair on a humid day. Let's dish about these infamous Diddy parties for a hot minute. For years, these shindigs were the place to be if you were anybody in Hollywood. We're talking A-list celebs, music moguls, sports stars, even politicians rubbing elbows and popping bottles. On the surface, it all looked glamorous AF. But honey, if the recent allegations are true, there was some seriously shady business going down behind those velvet ropes.
Special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown unit, which means that any movement within that unit is controlled and coordinated, and no inmate moves outside of his cell without being in full restraints, to include leg irons, handcuffs, a belly chain, and at least 2, if not 3 staff members escorting them.
Now, here's where it gets juicy. Steve wasn't just some casual guest who showed up once in a blue moon. Word on the street is that he was a regular fixture at these wild nights. And I'm not talking about him sipping champagne in the corner. Sources close to the investigation are hinting that the FBI has witnesses who claim they saw Steve getting involved in some pretty unsavory activities. We're not talking about embarrassing dance moves here, besties. We're talking potentially illegal stuff.
Replete with very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras throughout his home.
Can we take a moment to process this? Steve Harvey, the man who's been doling out relationship advice and playing the role of America's favorite TV uncle, might have been living a double life this whole time. It's like finding out your sweet grandma is secretly a cat burglar. It just doesn't compute. For years, Steve has been selling us this image of the ultimate family man, a devoted husband, a loving father, the guy you'd want to get advice from over a cup of coffee. His book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, was basically the Bible for anyone trying to navigate the crazy world of dating. But what if it was all smoke and mirrors?
Evidence that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named freak-offs.
The fact that Steve supposedly hightailed it out of the country just as Diddy was getting cuffed has people's tongues wagging overtime. I mean, come on. Who jets off on a spontaneous vacay right when their close friend is being taken down in a massive scandal? That's not normal behavior, folks. That's the kind of move someone makes when they're scared the authorities might come knocking on their door next. And it gets even juicier. It's not just Steve's attendance at these wild parties that's under the microscope. There are whispers, and I'm talking credible sources here, not just random Twitter gossip, that Steve wasn't just a passive bystander. According to these sources, the FBI has been gathering evidence for years, and they've got multiple witnesses claiming Steve was actively involved in some of the most shocking and illegal activities going down at these events. We're talking about stuff that, if proven true, could completely obliterate his career and land him in some serious legal hot water. It's like finding out your favorite Disney character has a secret underground fight club. It's that level of shocking. For now, Steve's keeping his lips zipped tighter than my jeans after Thanksgiving dinner. No public statements, no tweets, nada. His reps are being suspiciously quiet too. But you can bet your bottom dollar his legal team is working harder than me trying to resist a sale at Sephora. The fact that Steve supposedly fled the country suggests he knows there's a real possibility he could get caught up in this mess. After all, if he had nothing to hide, why not stick around and clear his name? It's giving major "I've got something to hide" vibes, and it's not a good look, honey. What makes this whole situation even more mind-blowing is the sheer contrast between Steve's squeaky clean public image and the allegations swirling around him now. This is a man who's built his entire brand on being relatable, trustworthy, and full of down-to-earth wisdom. He's the last person anyone would expect to be caught up in something this scandalous. But the more we learn about what allegedly went down at Diddy's parties, the more it seems like anyone who was a regular attendee could be in hot water.
He controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
And let's not forget Steve's close relationship with Diddy. These two have been tight for years, showing up at events together, praising each other in public. Steve's even credited Diddy as an inspiration for his entrepreneurial spirit. But now, that friendship is looking shadier than a palm tree on a sunny day. The million-dollar question on everyone's minds is this: what does Steve have to hide? Is it possible that he was just an innocent bystander at these parties, completely oblivious to the alleged illegal activities? Or, as the rumors suggest, was he a willing participant in the very things that have now led to Diddy's downfall? The truth is still up in the air, but as more details emerge, it's getting harder and harder to give Steve the benefit of the doubt. The fact that the FBI has reportedly been investigating Diddy's network for years means they're not just looking at the big fish, they're examining everyone in his orbit. And Steve, with his long-standing friendship and numerous public appearances alongside Diddy, is definitely in the spotlight. If these rumors turn out to be true, Steve could be facing way more than just a PR nightmare. We're talking potential criminal charges that could demolish everything he's built over the past few decades. It's like watching a house of cards wobble. One wrong move and the whole thing comes crashing down.
The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want it.
But here's the real kicker. Steve Harvey isn't the only big name caught up in this mess. As Diddy's arrest hit the headlines, it was like a signal flare went up, and suddenly everyone in his inner circle started scrambling. We're talking about a who's who of Hollywood, music, and even sports stars, all desperate to distance themselves from what's shaping up to be one of the most shocking falls from grace in celebrity history.
Stand-up comedian, entertainer, television host, family man. But most importantly, I happen to be a man of faith.
These aren't just Diddy's casual acquaintances or business partners we're talking about. These are people who were allegedly deep in the mix, living it up at those notorious parties. And now, as investigators dig deeper into the allegations against Diddy, these same celebrities are doing everything they can to avoid becoming the next headline. According to insiders, the FBI is combing through mountains of evidence, phone records, witness statements, you name it. And apparently, it's not looking good for the people in Diddy's circle. Some of the names that have surfaced include individuals who, like Steve Harvey, were thought to be squeaky clean. But the truth is, just like Steve, these celebrities were frequent guests at Diddy's exclusive events, and the allegations suggest they weren't just there for the fancy hors d'oeuvres and small talk.
You know, I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in...
One name that keeps popping up is Cuba Gooding Jr. Now, we all know Cuba's had his share of controversies over the years, but his connection to Diddy is now being scrutinized like never before. According to a lawsuit filed by one of Diddy's insiders, Rodney Lil Rod Jones, Cuba was far from an innocent bystander. bystander at these gatherings. Jones claims that Cuba not only attended these events, but also participated in some pretty inappropriate activities, allegations that could land him in some serious legal trouble. And hold on to your tiaras, because even royalty isn't immune from this scandal. Prince Harry's name has been thrown into the mix, although there's no suggestion that he was directly involved in any wrongdoing. His connection to Diddy comes from a charity event they both attended years ago, but the fact that his name is even being mentioned in this context has people raising eyebrows higher than my hair on a windy day. Then there's Young Miami, the rapper and one of Diddy's former flames. She's been pretty vocal about her relationship with Diddy in the past, but now her name is coming up in an entirely different light. According to rumors, Young Miami may have been involved in transporting certain items across state lines for Diddy, items that are now the subject of intense investigation. Whether or not these rumors hold any weight remains to be seen, but it's clear that anyone who had a close connection to Diddy is now under the microscope. The real tragedy here is that many of the people involved probably thought they were untouchable. For years, Diddy has been seen as one of the most successful and influential figures in music and business. But now, his empire is crumbling faster than my New Year's resolutions, and anyone associated with him is being dragged down along with him. Take Diddy's current situation, for example. He's been denied bail, which means he's stuck behind bars until his trial. The charges against him are so serious that he's looking at the possibility of life in prison if convicted. This isn't just a slap on the wrist or a fine. This is the kind of legal trouble that could end his career for good. What's even more incredible is how fast Diddy's empire is unraveling. His partnerships with major companies are dissolving faster than sugar in hot tea. Just a few months ago, Diddy was the face of major brands like Revolt and Ciroc. Now, those relationships are in tatters. Even Hulu, which was reportedly working on a reality show with the Combs family, has pulled the plug. It seems like no one wants to be associated with Diddy anymore, and honestly, can you blame them? And let's not forget the impact this is having on Diddy's family. His sons, who were once seen as rising stars in their own right, are now caught up in the scandal. Christian King Combs is facing his own legal issues related to accusations that have surfaced in the wake of his father's arrest. It's like the entire Combs family is being sucked into this vortex of scandal, and there doesn't seem to be any way out.
Some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see. These are allegations.
But here's the thing, besties. Diddy's fall from grace isn't just about one man's downfall. It's about the entire system that allowed this behavior to go unchecked for so long. For years, Diddy was able to cultivate this image of success, power, and influence. He surrounded himself with celebrities, politicians, and business leaders, all of whom seemed willing to turn a blind eye to what was really going on behind the scenes. And now, as the truth begins to come to light, it's clear that Diddy wasn't operating in a vacuum. There were plenty of people who knew what was happening, and some of them were complicit in keeping it all under wraps. So where does this leave Steve Harvey and the others who are now caught in the crossfire? Well, if the rumors are true, Steve isn't the only one trying to lay low while this investigation unfolds. It's been said that several other celebrities have quietly left the US in recent weeks, all trying to avoid getting dragged into this mess. It's almost like watching a game of musical chairs. Everyone's scrambling to find a safe place before the music stops. But sooner or later, someone's going to be left standing when the authorities come knocking.
You gotta run to a private island because your evil doings is doing so much and they storming your house. It's one of these.
As we wait for more details to emerge, one thing is clear. This is just the beginning. The investigation into Diddy's activities is far from over, and there's no telling how many more names will be pulled into this scandal. But for now, the spotlight remains squarely on Steve Harvey and the other celebrities who are trying to distance themselves from this sinking ship. Will they manage to escape unscathed, or will they be the next to face serious legal consequences? Only time will tell, besties, but one thing's for sure. I'll be here, ready to spill all the tea as soon as it's brewed. So, what do you think about all this drama? Is Steve Harvey really involved, or is he just caught in the crossfire? And who do you think might be the next big name to get dragged into this mess? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe for more juicy updates, and I'll catch you in the next video. Stay fabulous, my loves. Stay fabulous, my loves. Stay